Have you ever come home from a 12-hour shift, boots still caked in steel dust, just hoping the leftovers didn't spoil? That was me last Tuesday. I'd welded all day under a tin roof in the Texas heat, my shirt clinging like second skin, thinking only about a cold beer and some silence. Instead, I walk through the front door and find Ella sitting on the couch like she's hosting a damn TED Talk. Her makeup's too perfect, hair curled just so, and that red blouse, the one she only wore when she wanted attention, was tucked in like she was going somewhere important. I knew right then. Not the full picture, not yet. But the air told me. The way she looked at me. Not mad. Not sad. Not anything. Just rehearsed. Like she'd practiced this speech while I was hauling pipe and dodging sparks. "Jake," she said, folding her hands over her knee. "We need to talk." I didn't drop my lunch pail or loosen my boots. I just leaned against the doorframe and waited. She needed this moment to feel powerful. I wasn't gonna steal her spotlight. "I think we need a break," she continued. "Just 2 weeks. Some space. Time to figure ourselves out." My jaw twitched, but I didn't blink. "You already figured something out, Ella?" She blinked at that, like a kid caught mid-theft. "It's not like that," she said quickly, too quickly. "I just feel like I'm losing myself. We're not connecting. I need time to think." There it was. The vague word salad. Classic. I'd seen guys at work get hit with this line, most of them scrambling to win her back. But I wasn't built like that. I don't chase people trying to lose me. I reached for the fridge, cracked open a Shiner, and took a slow sip. "All right," I said. Ella blinked again. "All right? Yeah. You want space? You got it." She shifted in her seat. I thought you'd fight for us. And I thought we had something worth fighting for," I replied, still calm. "But you decided that's up for debate." That shut her up. I didn't yell, didn't beg. That's not strength, that's theater. And Ella didn't need a partner. She needed an audience. She stood slowly, like her performance had ended without applause. "I'll stay with Ashley for a bit." Perfect. The friend with 5 failed relationships and a YouTube channel about reclaiming your feminine chaos. The same friend who used to giggle every time Ella and I argued. The one who always said, "Girl, men like Jake are too quiet. That's a red flag." I nodded once and took another swig. "Let me know when you're packed. I've got laundry to do." She stood frozen for a beat too long, like she didn't know whether to hug me or slap me. Then she stormed off to the bedroom. 10 minutes later, I heard drawers opening and closing like they owed her money. When she finally left, lugging a leopard print duffel and pride, I didn't say a word. I waited until I heard her car pull out of the driveway. Then I sat down at the table, turned off my phone, and finished my beer in silence. It wasn't grief that filled the room. It was clear. This wasn't a test. This was a warning shot, and I wasn't about to wait for the second one. The first night alone felt like a deep breath I didn't know I'd been holding for years. No accusations. No backhanded comments about the thermostat or the way I stacked the dishwasher. Just me, a pepperoni pizza, and the Cowboys game rerun humming from the living room TV. I put my boots up on the coffee table without guilt and cracked open a beer without hearing. Again? Really? Ella was staying with Ashley now. She made that clear with a smug little text and a passive-aggressive heart emoji. "Settling in with Ash. This is going to be so good for us." For us? Sure. Like a wolf babysitting the chickens. Ashley was the queen of chaos. The type who believed men were either stepping stones or doormats. She'd never liked me, probably because I never kissed her ass or nodded along when she ranted about divine feminine healing. Whatever the hell that meant. Still, I didn't reply. Silence says more than sarcasm ever could. By Friday, I had a plan. First move? Money. I rerouted my direct deposit into a brand new checking account she couldn't touch. Left just enough in our joint account for bills and optics, about $200 and some change. Second move? Passwords. I changed every login, email, banking, Netflix, even the damn thermostat. If she wanted space, she could enjoy the temperature of her own life now. Third move? I called Stefan. Stefan is the type of guy you call when you need the truth without sugar. We've been best friends since high school. Served together in Iraq, rebuilt our lives in Texas together. I helped him pour the foundation for his garage business, and he helped me rebuild my deck after a storm took half the roof. He showed up an hour after I texted, still in work boots, smelling like motor oil and sarcasm. "Jesus," he muttered, stepping inside. "Your house smells like bachelor heaven." "That's because I burned a candle to chase the estrogen ghosts out," I said, cracking a beer for him. We sat on the porch, beers in hand, as the sun dipped low behind the mesquite trees. "So what's the play?" he asked. "She thinks I'll chase her," I said. "I'm doing the opposite." "Smart. You think she's with someone?" I paused. "Not sure, but I know Ashley's involved." "That's enough." He nodded slowly, taking a sip. "You ready for what comes next? 'Cause once you stop dancing, they usually panic. That's when the real ugly starts." I already knew that. Ella hadn't texted me in 2 days. Not even a check-in. Not a "how are you?" Just a silence that wasn't neutral, it was tactical. She was waiting to see if I'd break. But I wasn't breaking. I was preparing. Stefan leaned back. "You're gonna need a lawyer. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now." "Already got a guy in mind," I said. "Good. And get everything in writing, expenses, receipts, photos. Start treating this like a crime scene." We sat there as the wind picked up, rustling the trees. It didn't feel like the end of a marriage. It felt like the beginning of a war. The next morning, while I was organizing documents in the office, a message popped up on my phone. From Ashley. "Hey Jake, just wanted to check in. Ella's having a hard time. I know this is awkward, but if you ever want to grab a coffee and talk, I'm here." I stared at that little emoji like it was a loaded pistol. She wasn't subtle. Never had been. And now she was sniffing around my silence like a fox testing the edge of a snare. I didn't reply. Not yet. I wanted to see how far she'd go. Instead, I texted Stefan. "Me? Ashley's trying something." "Stefan. Of course she is. It's mating season for snakes." "Me? I'm gonna play dumb." "Stefan. Record everything." I sat back in my chair, watching the screen fade to black. Ella wanted space. She was about to find out what silence really feels like. Ashley texted again 2 days later. "Coffee? No pressure. Just want to make sure you're okay. Ella's not herself lately. I thought maybe we could talk." The woman had all the subtlety of a brick through a windshield. I could practically smell the perfume and manipulation through the screen. Still, I played along. "Sure. Where?" She picked a coffee shop halfway between her yoga studio and Ella's favorite nail salon. That wasn't an accident. Ashley liked being seen in places where whispers traveled faster than lattes. I showed up 10 minutes early, sat facing the entrance, and started the voice recorder app on my phone. She walked in like she owned the building. Tight jeans, cropped jacket, dark red lipstick that probably had a name like Homewrecker Cherry. Her smile was warm, fake, and way too familiar. "Jake," she said, her voice dripping like syrup. "You look different." "Different how?" "I don't know." She tilted her head. "Calmer, maybe, like something lifted off you." I didn't take the bait. Just sipped my coffee and let her talk. And oh, she loved to talk. She went on about how confused Ella had been lately, how relationships were like seasonal contracts. And sometimes people just need to explore their shadows to come back stronger. I wanted to laugh. Instead, I asked, "So what season is this one?" She smiled again, softer this time. "I think this is your season, Jake." Then came the hand on my wrist. Light, lingering, a touch designed to test. I didn't move, just glanced down, then back up. "Ella doesn't know we're meeting, does she?" I asked. Ashley bit her bottom lip like a teenager caught sneaking out. "She wouldn't understand. I'm just trying to help. I've always liked you, Jake. You're a good man. Strong." I leaned forward, careful to keep my tone neutral. "You ever wonder how this break really started?" She blinked. "What do you mean?" "I mean," I said, watching her pupils flicker, "whether Ella came up with it on her own, Or if someone planted the idea. Ashley straightened slightly, defensive but not alarmed. I mean, I gave her advice, sure. But what she does with it is up to her. Right? She backpedaled fast. Look, I know it sounds bad, but I care about both of you. You deserve someone who sees your worth, who understands you're kind of quiet. There it was. She was laying it on thick now. Seduction in a support group disguise. I smiled. You think I'm quiet? Not in a weak way, she rushed to add. In a strong, mysterious way. You've always had that still water thing. It's sexy. Her hand crept back across the table. This time, I let it sit there for a second before slowly pulling mine away to grab my cup. She noticed. She also noticed the recorder light on my phone, barely visible beneath my folded napkin. That flicker of panic in her eyes? That was the real Ashley. For half a second, the mask slipped, and I saw the gears turning. But she recovered fast. You're smart, Jake, she said sweetly. I bet you already know everything. I met her eyes. I know enough. We left without a hug or a promise to meet again. She walked out first, hips swinging like a woman who thought she just planted a seed. But I wasn't soil. I was firewood. Back in the truck, I called Stefan on Bluetooth. She made her move, I said. She hit on you? Oh yeah. Blamed it all on Ella, said I deserved better. The works. Stefan chuckled. Let me guess. Tight jeans? Red lipstick and weird spiritual metaphors? Something about seasonal contracts. He laughed louder. She's not just toxic. She's premeditated. She knows more than she's letting on. And she's scared. So what's next? I'm baiting the hook, I said, letting her think I'm taking the bait. Are you sure that's safe? She wanted a show, I said. I'll give her the opening act. But when the curtain falls, it's on my terms. I've been holding back, waiting for something concrete. Ashley was slippery, sure, but her arrogance made her predictable. And Ella? She wasn't built for secrecy. Not long-term. Her lies had tells. Longer showers, muted calls, sudden bursts of energy before errands. But I wasn't chasing shadows anymore. I needed facts, not feelings. That's where the iPad came in. She left it behind, probably didn't think twice. It was old, used mostly for Pinterest boards and home decor videos. But she'd never logged out of iCloud. And that was her mistake. I waited until after midnight. House dark, beer half finished, laptop open. I pulled the iPad out from the drawer where I'd stashed it 2 weeks earlier and swiped through the screen. No password. Of course not. Ella never thought I was the kind of guy to snoop. And she was half right. Until now. I went straight to the Messages app. And there he was, Scott, smiling in his profile pic like the smug bastard he probably was. Blonde hair, fake tan, button-down shirt with the top 2 buttons open. Looked like someone who sold overpriced software and called himself an executive. The text started soft. Scott, had fun today. Can't wait to see that smile again. Ella, me too. You make me feel like I'm seen for once. I scrolled. Dates, times, hotel names, photos. One of her in my shirt, sprawled across a white comforter. Another of him shirtless, flexing like a damn teenager. Receipts, dinner bills from Austin. One hotel booking was charged to our joint credit card. She even used my gas card once. To drive to him. She was brave. Or stupid. I clicked share. Sent it all to my encrypted folder on a hard drive Stefan helped me set up last week. Screenshots, audio messages, dates, maps. Everything backed up and time-stamped. I wasn't shaking. I wasn't crying. That version of me died the night she asked for a break. Now, I was an engineer disassembling a machine that used to be my life. Piece by rusted piece. Then I hit the photo stream. There were selfies. Ella in the mirror, Ella blowing kisses, Ella holding 2 glasses of wine in some hotel bar. And one photo that nearly made me laugh out loud. Ashley and Ella, both grinning, clinking glasses. Caption, to freedom and new beginnings. They'd toasted to the breakup. Probably planned it like a bachelorette party. I sat back in my chair, the glow of the screen washing over the room. This wasn't just infidelity. It was coordinated, calculated. Ashley played the decoy. Ella played the victim. Scott won the prize. And me? I was about to become their reckoning. I closed the iPad, placed it gently back in the drawer, and opened my laptop. Drafted an email. Subject: Evidence confidential. To Dave Ramirez, attorney at law. Attached every screenshot, every receipt, every damn timestamped betrayal. Then I typed: Need to talk. Divorce. Fault-based. Strong case. Let's meet. Jake Turner. Before I went to bed, I left one final thing running. A digital backup to a second location Stefan controlled. Just in case things got weird. Because when people like Ella and Ashley get exposed, they don't apologize. They escalate. Dave Ramirez looked like the kind of guy you'd want arguing your way out of hell. Broad shoulders, buzz cut, navy blue suit, and eyes that stayed dead calm no matter what storm came through the door. We met at his downtown office Friday morning. He shook my hand like we were sealing a concrete deal, then gestured for me to sit across from his desk. I reviewed your email and attachments, he said, flipping through a manila folder thicker than Ella's conscience. You've got enough here to bury her 10 times over. Good, I said, voice steady. I'm not interested in a back and forth. He nodded, tapping a pen. Texas is a fault state. Her adultery gives you leverage, especially with the financials. The hotel receipts on your joint credit card, the photo trail, the texts. This is a textbook. What's that mean for me? It means you'll keep the house, likely most of the savings, and she'll be ineligible for spousal support. Judges hate cheaters who play the victim, especially when they fund their own affair with their husband's wallet. Dave leaned in slightly. You said she's staying with a friend? Ashley, the one who orchestrated this circus. She's already tried to get close to me. That's useful, he said. We'll draft the petition to include her influence as a contributing factor to marital breakdown. Not legally essential, but it colors the picture for the judge. I nodded. He paused. And emotionally, how are you holding up? Better now, I said, because this ain't about healing. It's about closure with receipts. Dave smirked. I like your style. By noon, we had a strategy. He'd file within the week. Fault-based divorce citing adultery, with full documentation. Ella wouldn't know what hit her until the papers showed up on Ashley's porch. Meanwhile, my job was to stay quiet. Don't tip the hand. Don't get into a fight. Let the rope tighten. That night, Ashley messaged again. Thinking about you. Hope you're okay. I'm here if you need someone to talk to. I didn't respond. Not yet. Instead, I called Stefan. She's still fishing. You gonna bite? Oh yeah, I said, but not the way she thinks. I scheduled a dinner with Ashley, public place, upscale, her favorite rooftop spot downtown. I told her I just needed to talk, get things off my chest. She responded with 3 heart emojis and a winky face. She was already picking out her dress. But this wasn't a date. It was a setup, and I wasn't walking into a trap. I was building one. Ashley chose the rooftop at Del Rey, one of those places where appetizers cost more than a tank of gas and nobody laughs unless they're trying to be heard. She walked in 10 minutes late, wearing a black satin dress and confidence so thick you could have wiped it off the silverware. Every step was practiced, like she thought she was starring in some midlife rom-com. I stood as she approached, out of habit, not for her. She leaned in like she expected a kiss. I stepped back just enough for her to notice. Oh, she said, laughing lightly. Still being shy? I held her chair out like a gentleman. Just being patient. The waiter brought wine she'd clearly pre-ordered. She raised her glass. To start fresh starts, she said. I clinked her glass but didn't drink. For a few minutes, we danced through small talk. My work, her coaching business. How she'd never felt so aligned with her true self. I let her ramble. I nodded in the right places, but her eyes kept drifting past me, scanning the room. She was looking for a clean exit, or maybe backup. Then I saw the shift. Her gaze landed on something or someone, and froze. She went pale. Jake. What is this? I didn't turn around. I didn't need to. I'd invited Ella, not with a heads up, no warning, just a simple text earlier that day. Delray, 8 p.m. Ashley and I are talking. Thought you'd want to know. Ella had shown up right on time. I saw her reflection in Ashley's wine glass. Her red blouse, tight jaw, and eyes that went from rage to betrayal in one blink. Ashley stood up fast. This isn't funny. Wasn't meant to be, I said, folding my napkin. You wanted intimacy. She wanted attention. I figured you two should talk it out. Ella stormed toward us. Are you kidding me, Jake? Nope. Ashley turned on her. You followed him here? You think I didn't see your messages? The hand on his wrist? You're a joke, Ash. Ashley fired back, louder this time. You begged me to help you leave him. Don't play innocent now. The waiter froze. Diners turned. I sat back and let the chaos bloom. You seduced my husband. He's not your husband anymore. Wine spilled. Forks clattered. Security moved in. And then Ella shoved Ashley. Ashley shoved back. The crowd gasped as Ella's red wine went flying across a $30 steak and Ashley's purse hit the floor like a brick. Security grabbed them both. You're both leaving, the manager barked. I stood, took one last sip of my water, and laid down a crisp $100 bill. For the mess, I said, and the entertainment. As they were dragged out, still screaming, I walked calmly to the elevator. No yelling, no drama from me. That was their domain. I just held up the mirror. The video hit TikTok by noon the next day. Some college kid had filmed the entire thing from his table. Perfect angle, clear audio, and just the right amount of shaky camera work to make it feel raw. The caption said it all. 2 women fighting over 1 man at Del Rey last night. Dude just walked out like a legend. Hashtag Redline Rumble, hashtag Del Rey drama. By the end of the weekend, it had 2.7 million views. Comments flooded in. This man walked like a king while the peasants burned. Ashley and Ella deserve each other. Protect this man at all costs. I didn't respond, didn't repost, didn't even smile. I just turned my phone off and mowed my lawn. Ella called me 6 times that night. I didn't answer. I'd already told Dave to file the divorce petition, and service was scheduled for Tuesday, hand-delivered, just the way I wanted it. Not to her work, not to Ashley's, to the county jail, because after the wine, the screaming, and the shoving, both of them had been cuffed and booked for public disturbance. Ella had even tried to claw her way out of the cuffs and earned herself an obstruction charge. I only knew because Stefan texted me a link. Your ex-wife is trending in Crime Roundup Live, he wrote. Damn shame, I replied. I was rooting for rehab, not reality TV. Scott, the guy Ella had been seeing, dumped her 2 hours after the video dropped. She posted a cryptic story on Instagram. Some people only love you when it's easy. Who freaking who? Ashley wasn't doing much better. She started texting me like a woman unraveling. Jake, they don't understand what really happened. This isn't who I am. Please let me explain. I think I made a mistake. I miss you. I didn't even block her. I just left the messages on read. She showed up at my house on Thursday night. Hair a mess, eyes rimmed in makeup she didn't bother to fix. She stood at the edge of my porch, hands in her pockets, looking like a raccoon after a trash can got slammed shut. I just want to talk, she said softly. I opened the door just enough to make my voice carry. You've done enough talking. She swallowed hard. You were never supposed to get hurt. I looked at her like she was a stranger on the sidewalk. I didn't get hurt, Ashley. I got free. Then I closed the door. That was the last time I saw her. Funny thing is, peace doesn't arrive with trumpets or applause. Comes quietly. No more late-night arguments. No more stage drama. No more walking on eggshells just to keep the house from erupting. Ella stopped trying after her court hearing. Her lawyer reached out to Dave once, offered a settlement that was laughable. We sent back a counteroffer that included no spousal support, no claim to the house, and her taking responsibility for the joint credit card debt. She had no leverage, because I had the receipts. All of them. The courthouse was quiet that morning. Overcast sky, barely a breeze. Felt less like a war zone, more like a waiting room at the DMV, calm, clinical, inevitable. Ella walked in wearing a muted gray dress and too much concealer. Her lawyer followed, carrying a leather briefcase like it weighed more than her dignity. She didn't look at me at first, just sat across the aisle, eyes locked on the floor, hands wringing a tissue like she'd practiced sadness in the mirror. Dave leaned in. She's not contesting anything. Probably think you'll cave if she plays pathetic. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. This wasn't about punishment anymore. It was about closure with documentation. The judge moved quickly. No-fault divorce requests drag on. Fault-based with clear evidence? Efficient as a guillotine. Mr. Turner, do you wish to proceed with the request for divorce on grounds of adultery? Yes, Your Honor. Mrs. Turner, do you contest this claim? Her lawyer leaned in. Ella whispered, then shook her head. No, Your Honor. Took 22 minutes. Papers signed. Settlement approved. I kept the house, the truck. My pension stayed untouched. The bank account, minus the debts she racked up with Scott and Ashley, was split 90/10 in my favor. No alimony. No appeals. The judge's gavel hit the block, and just like that, a 6-year marriage dissolved without ceremony. Outside the courtroom, Ella tried one last performance. She caught up to me in the hallway, clutching a manila folder like it had secrets that might save her. I didn't mean for things to get so out of hand, she said. I stopped, slowly turned, and looked her in the eye for the first time in months. Do you remember February 12th? I asked. She blinked. What? The hotel receipt. Austin, you paid with our joint card. You took a selfie with Scott. You were wearing my shirt. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. I pulled out a single folded page from my jacket. One screenshot, just one. Her photo timestamped, the message she sent him that night. Finally free from that boring idiot. Ashley was right. This was the only way. I handed it to her. I framed it, I said. Thought you'd want a copy. Her hands trembled as she took the paper. Then I turned and walked out. Dave caught up to me by the stairs, a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. Poetic, just factual. Later that night, Stefan came over with a six-pack and his usual blunt charm. To freedom, he said, cracking open a beer and tossing me one. And to the receipt heard round the courthouse. We sat on the porch, the Texas air heavy but still. My porch, my house. No more games, no more performative apologies. Just cold beer and silence. And for once, the silence didn't feel lonely. Felt earned. The first thing I did after the divorce was change the locks. Second thing, I tossed the throw pillows. You know the ones, beige with fake cursive phrases like live, laugh, love. I never laughed when I looked at them. Never really lived either, if I'm being honest. I always just tried to avoid stepping on emotional landmines in my own house. Not anymore. I put those pillows in a trash bag, dumped them on the curb, and drove to the hardware store. New paint, new blinds, new couch, nothing fancy, just mine. Choose a function over Pinterest. Warm lighting, deep cushions, and a big screen on the wall tuned to football, not reality TV. One night, I sat in that recliner with a bucket of fried chicken and silence that didn't feel cold. Felt earned. I scrolled through my phone, no new messages. No cryptic posts. No drama-dripping voicemails. Just peace. That Friday, Stefan came by to help mount the TV. He paused halfway through and looked around the place. Damn, he muttered. The place feels different. Because it is, I said, passing him a beer. Everything here is honest now. Nothing pretending to be something it's not. He raised his bottle. To be honest. We ate, we watched the game, we didn't say much. And that was fine. Real peace doesn't need noise. Later that night, I stood in the doorway of the bedroom, my bedroom now, and took in the space. Clean sheets. No perfume I didn't recognize. No passive-aggressive sticky notes on the mirror. Just quiet. I finally slept through the night for the first time in a year. No dreams. No anxiety. No wondering what time she'd get home or whose name she was texting under Carla from Pilates. Just me. My space. My rules. I didn't start dating again. Didn't download some sad app. I wasn't looking to fill a void because the void had been hers, not mine. She took the noise with her when she left. And now I could finally hear myself think again. Funny thing about peace, it doesn't arrive like a parade. Creeps in slow. Pizza boxes on the table. Work boots kicked off at the door. A dog-eared book you're actually gonna finish. Music you picked. A beer you didn't ask permission to open. It's not dramatic. It's not loud. It's just the absence of chaos. And once you taste it, even for a minute, you never let anyone take it from you again.